Hello everyone, welcome to Java Learners. In this video, we will understand how to use conditional on property with configuration annotation. The conditional on property is a Spring Boot annotation that allows us to enable or disable the creation of a bean based on the presence and the value of a specific property in the application's configuration. The application's configurations are defined using the application.properties and application.yml files. The add conditional on property can be used in conjunction with add component, add configuration, and add bean annotations. The Spring Boot configuration classes are marked with add configuration annotation. When add conditional on property is used with add configuration annotation, then it controls whether the beans which are defined in the configuration class should be created or not. That completely depends on the presence and the value of the specific property or properties which are defined in the application's configuration. The Spring checks for the property in application.properties file, in the application.yml files, in the environment variables, or in the command line arguments. In this screenshot, the email config is a configuration class that is annotated with conditional on property annotation. This configuration class contains a method that defines the email notification bean. The email configuration class will be activated only when the value of the property notification.service.type is set to email in the application's configuration. If the value of the property is set to email in the application's configuration, then all the beans defined within the email configuration class will be instantiated. If the value of the property notification.service.type from the application's configuration does not match with the having value of this email config class, then entire configuration is skipped and no beans are instantiated. To illustrate how conditional on property works with configuration, I will implement a small part of notification system. The diagram shows two notification classes, email notification and SMS notification. Both of these classes implement notification interface. The email notification class provides the functionality to send the email notifications, and the SMS notification class provides the functionality to send the SMS notifications. The notification sender class contains a notification dependency that could be either email notification or SMS notification. The notification sender class internally uses the notification instance to send the notifications to the users. The user class represents a recipient of the notification. It's a simple POJO class. The application contains a application.properties file. This file has one property, notification.service.type, and its value would be either email or SMS. There are two configuration classes, email config and SMS config. The email config class conditionally creates a bean for email notification, and the SMS config class conditionally creates a bean for SMS notification. If the value of the property in the application.properties file is email, in that case the email configuration class will be activated and it will create a bean for email notification. If the value of the property in the application.properties file is SMS, in that case the SMS configuration class will be activated and it will create a SMS notification bean. In the screenshot, you can see two configuration classes, email configuration and SMS configuration. Both of these classes are annotated with configuration annotation and conditional on property annotation. The first config will be activated when the property value is email, which is represented using the having value. And if the having value is SMS, then in the application.properties file, the property value should also be SMS. The email configuration class will create an email notification bean when the value of the property in the application.properties file is email. If the value in the application.properties file for the property is SMS, in that case the SMS configuration class will create a bean for SMS notification. Here in this screenshot, you can see that the value of the property is email. So an email notification bean will be created. I have created a Spring Boot project using Spring Boot version 3.2.4 and the Java version is 21. Apart from this, I have also added one dependency, that is Spring Boot starter, and this dependency provides the core classes. The project follows a layered Spring Boot architecture with four main packages. The config package contains the configuration classes. The model package contains the user class, which represents the recipient of the notification. And the service package contains the notification sender class and one interface notification. The service package contains one subpackage, that is IMPL. The IMPL package contains the implementation classes for notification interface. In the model package, I have created a user class. It's a simple POSO class that represents the user to whom the notification is sent. The class contains three fields: name, email, and mobile number. It has one constructor that is used to initialize these fields. It also has getter and setter methods. In the service package, I have created one interface notification that represents the contract for sending the notifications to the users. This interface includes a single method that takes two arguments. The first argument is the user, who is the recipient of the notification, and the second argument is message body that represents the content. In the IMPL package, I have created an email notification class that implements the notification interface. It has no argument constructor that is invoked when the instance for email notification is created. It also includes a method send that takes two arguments. The first one is the user and the second one is the message body. In this method, we will provide the notification sending logic. I have also added one logger statement in this method. This logger statement will display the message on the screen whenever this send method will be invoked. Other than the email notification, there is one more class in the IMPL package, that is SMS notification. The SMS notification class implements the notification interface, and it also has one no argument constructor that is invoked when the SMS notification object is created. It includes a single method that takes two arguments. The first one is the user and the second one is message body. This method provides the logic to send the SMS notifications to the users. In this method, I have added a logger that will display the message on the screen whenever the send method of SMS notification class will be invoked. In the service package, I have also created a notification sender class that contains a notification dependency. This class includes a single method send, and that will internally invoke the send method of email notification or SMS notification class. In the application.properties file, I have defined one property, notification.service.type, and its value is SMS. In the config package, I have created two configuration classes, email config and SMS config. Let's understand the email config. Here you can see that this email config class is annotated with at configuration and at conditional on property annotations. This class has one method which is going to return the email notification bean, and this method is annotated with at bean annotation. In the at conditional on property annotation, you can see that there are two attributes. The first one is value. that is representing the property name. The second attribute is having value, that represents the expected value of the property. If the value of the property notification.service.type in the application.properties file is email, in that case this email configuration class will be activated and email notification bean will be created. If the value of this property in the application.properties file is not set to email, in that case the email notification bean will not be created. In the config package, I have also created one configuration named SMS config. This config class will create a bean for SMS notification. This SMS configuration class is annotated with @configuration annotation, and it is also annotated with @conditional on property annotation. Here you can see that @conditional on property annotation has two attributes. The first one is value, that represents the property which is defined in the application.properties file, and the second attribute is having value, that represents the expected value of the property. If the value of the property in the application.properties file is SMS, then this SMS configuration class will be activated and it will create a SMS notification bean. If the value of this property in the application.properties file is not set to SMS, in that case this SMS configuration class will not be activated and the SMS notification bean will not be created. In the main method, you can see that I have created one instance for a user, and then from the application context I'm going to retrieve the notification sender instance, and then I'm invoking the send method and I'm passing the user end the message to the send method of the notification sender class. Now I'm going to run it. Here in the logs, you can see that one message is displayed, that SMS notification is sent to this particular number 98765432210, and the message is account update notification. I have provided this message in the logger statement of the SMS notification class. So that means the SMS notification bean is created. And here you can also see that the message that we defined in the constructor is also displayed on the screen. SMS notification constructor is invoked. And why this SMS notification bean is created? The SMS notification bean is created because in the application.properties file, the value of the property is SMS. I have changed the value of this property. Now the value of this property is email. Now I'm going to run the application again. Here in the logs, you can see that email notification constructor is invoked and the message is also shown that email notification is sent to javalearners@gmail.com and the message is account update notification. In the value attribute, you can see that we are passing a single property. So instead of passing the single property, we can also pass an array of properties. So I'm going to pass one more property, that is notification, and it requires an array. So I'm going to enclose it in the curly braces. So here in the value attribute, you can see that we are passing an array of properties, and we also need to define this notification property in the application.properties file. In the application.properties file, now we have two properties. The first property is notification.service.type and the second property is notification. Here the value attribute is having two properties. In this case, the Spring will check whether the value of both of these properties is email or not. If the value of both of these properties is email, in that case, the email configuration class will be activated and the email notification bean will be created. If any of the properties is not set to email, In that case, this email configuration class will not be activated and the email notification bean will not be created. Now I'm going to run it. Here in the logs, you can see that email notification constructor is invoked and email notification is sent to Java learners. Messages displayed on the screen. Now in the application.properties file, I'm going to change the notification property value. As of now, it is email. Now I'm going to make it to SMS. Now I'm going to run it. Here in the console, you can see that we are getting the error, and the error is that dependency injection is failed in the notification sender class. This is happening because in the application.properties file, the value of the first property is email and the value of the second property is SMS. In the email config class, you can see that in order to create the email notification bean, the value for both of these properties should be email, but that's not true. So that's why this email notification bean is not created. In the SMS config class, we can see that the value of this property should be SMS. Then only the bean for SMS notification will be created. But the value for this property in application.properties file is set to email. That's why this SMS configuration class is not activated. I have reverted back the changes. Now I'm going to use the single property in the application.properties file. In the email config class, I have also removed the second property. What will happen if the property is not present in the application.properties file? So from the application.properties file, I'm going to remove it. Now I'm going to run it. Here you can see that we are getting an error, and the error is that the notification dependency is not injected into the notification sender class, and this is happening because this property is missing from the application.properties file. So the email config or SMS config configuration classes are not loaded, and the email notification and SMS notification beans are not created. Here you can see this message that fill notification in notification sender required a bean of type notification that could not be found. So in order to fix this, we can do one thing. In the notification sender, in the at autowired annotation, we can pass required equal to false. Now I'm going to run it again. Again we are getting the error, but this time the error is different. This time we are getting null pointer exception, and this is happening because in the notification sender class at line number 14, we are using the notification instance to invoke the send method, but the email notification and SMS notification beans are not created, and no dependency is injected. That's why this notification value is null, and as it is invoking the send method on the null value, so that's why it is throwing the null pointer exception. To avoid null pointer exception, here we can apply the checks. If the notification is non-null, then only the send method should be invoked. If the notification is null, in that case nothing should be done. So here we can add the loggers that will display the message that the notification instance is not created. Consider a scenario where we want that whenever this property is missing from the application.properties file, then by default the email notification bean should be created. There is one attribute that comes with at conditional on property annotation, and the attribute name is matchIfMissing. We can use this attribute to make the email notification bean a default bean. For that, we have to set its value to true. If its value is set to false, in that case, this bean will not be considered a default bean. Here you can see that the value of match if missing attribute is true. In the SMS config, we also need to define this attribute. Here in the SMS config, I'm going to make it to false. In the application.properties file, you can see that the property is missing. Now I'm going to run the application. In the logs, you can see that email notification constructor is invoked. That means that the bean for email notification is created. What will happen if the match if missing attribute is set to true in both of these classes? So in that case, what will happen? Two beans will be created, the SMS notification and email notification. I'm going to run it. We'll see that. Here in the logs, you can see that we are getting an error, and the error is that filled notification in the notification sender required a single bean, but two beans are found. And this is happening because the SMS notification and email notification, both beans are created. When multiple beans are present of the same type, in that case, we can specify which bean should be given priority for the dependency injection. So using the at qualifier annotation, I'm going to specify which bean should be injected when both beans are present. So here I'm going to specify the SMS bean name. I'm going to run the application. Here you can see that application is running successfully, and here you can also see that both beans are created, but in the message you can see that SMS notification is sent to this particular mobile number. And this is happening because using the at qualifier annotation in the notification center class, I have specified that by default the SMS notification bean should be injected. Why I am using this name? Because in the SMS config class, I have provided the name to this particular SMS notification bean. For SMS notification bean, the bean name is SMS. For email notification bean, the bean name is email. That's it for this video. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Please provide your comments in the comment section. Thank you.